Hi, Barbora from Czech Republic and Germany. Thank you for your question. And yeah, I can imagine what a struggle it is. Not just that I can imagine, but very often I also myself experience this struggle of observing a behavior or witnessing a behavior of another person that's either disturbing, bothering me, or maybe unclear, confusing. And there is stuff being triggered in me, and now I want to approach this person, but it's challenging because if I approach this person with this with my disturbed energy, it is likely to end up in a conflict, in tension. On the other hand, I also don't want to park myself, don't want to withdraw myself. I do want to be in my integrity. I do want to stand up for something that's really precious for me. So what do I do? So how do I approach? And you ask for first three things that I would suggest you to check within yourself before you approach the person. I'm not sure if I can limit myself to three things, but let me give you what I would want to do first. The first thing definitely. So I'm observing, for instance, you gave this example of yachts being parked or docked or however what's the proper name in the swimming. It's already quite narrow swimming area, and yeah, and you are being disturbed by that. So you want to approach. Okay. So one thing I would want to do. The first one is self-connection. To really self-connect, so that when I approach these people, when I approach this person, I want to approach them from a self-connected space. I see it as like a martial artist trying to be in your balance, like lower your center of gravity, find your balance, straighten up, expand, and then it's more likely you will be able to continue according to your choice. Now, I want to be very specific. Self-connection, very often people interpret it as calming myself down and parking my own disturbing feelings aside. And that's not quite what I mean by self-connection. That's actually very often the opposite. What I mean by self-connection is to really give in space to my feelings, to really drop from my mind into my body and feel the feelings of frustration, of disturbance, sadness, annoyance, whatever is there. Give them space, breathe with them, like really dropping from the mind into the body and just giving space. Yes, that's how I'm feeling right now. My heart is beating, my pulse is higher. Just giving space to that. Then I want to also connect, as a part of self-connection, with what I'm longing for, because feelings are identifying and indicating something that's really precious for me. Maybe it's a quality of consideration that I'm really longing for, or mutuality, or companionship with people, or care, and so forth. And just to connect with that, just give space to how much I have been longing for that, and how disturbing it is when this is not present. And I would want to continue with that, with this self-connection, and with some practice. This can be actually within a minute or so, or a couple of minutes, until I have some sort of a sense of a completion, or some sort of a sense of inner expansion. Okay, that's the first one. The second one, I would like to remind myself or ask myself, what is my goal? I'm going to approach these people. What is my goal? If I notice that my goal is to change them, my goal is to make them see how their behavior is wrong and how they should be or they shouldn't be. If I will approach them with this idea of changing them, I will most likely be met by quite a strong resistance, which is quite understandable because every human being longs for free choice and autonomy and so forth. So nobody's really enjoying being pushed around and told how to be and how to not be. So I would want to remind myself that I am going to approach them right now, and I have just one goal. I'm just having a goal to connect, to create a human-to-human, heart-to-heart connection, trusting that once this connection has been established, something will happen. Something will emerge from this new space that hopefully will have opened. That's the second one, okay? The third one, I would like to identify in my mind, so I'm still talking about what I would do within myself before even opening my mouth. I would want to identify the images, so what we call enemy images that I have, how stupid, how obnoxious they are, how selfish and egocentric or whatever. I would just like to identify this, because that's not really helpful if I come with this whole palette of these judgments. And I would want to remind myself that underneath all of that, there is a human heart. There is an innocent human heart, a human conscious individual that is doing their best right now to meet their needs in the best way they can. Needs for joy, for ease, for free choice, for fun, play, and whatever it might be. So basically, they are right now doing their best to meet certain needs of theirs. And I guess they lack capacity right now to take into consideration all other needs in the space. Okay. So these three things I would do first. And hopefully this can be just like a couple of minutes or maybe 5 minutes or whatever. And then hopefully I will now be able to approach them from a different space. From not a space of enemy that is going to tell them what to do, but from another human being wanting to connect. And I would like to have that as my kind of a goal. I'm just trying to connect with them, and I'm inviting them into companionship, right? And then of course I would probably empathize first, like classical nonviolent communication approach. So first I would try to say, hey, I'm guessing you're having a really nice time, enjoying yourself. Wow, it's such a beautiful day, isn't it? And, just try to empathize. And then also maybe I would throw in myself, but first on a meta level expressing my nervousness. Like, I'm going to say something right now, and to be honest, I'm quite nervous because I'm really afraid this is going to get across as me criticizing you, and I would just like to be really trusting that I can be heard in what's difficult for me. Just somehow to bring that I am right now nervous. Why am I nervous? Because I care for you, and I care for myself, and I really care for creating a connection and companionship. That's why I'm nervous. I'm vulnerably bringing myself in. And then I would of course say, how much I care for free space for my children to play on the beach, and and that's how unpleasant it is when the view is blocked by yachts and so forth. And then, continue with what we call giraffe dance in nonviolent communication. And I want to share, I hope this is somehow meaningful, but I also want to share one, for me, very inspiring thing that I just heard a month maybe ago. Several friends of mine went to this river. They just started this initiative of cleaning the river that was full of trash, that people who would go there to have picnics at the river and so forth would just leave there or throw away and so forth. So they said, let's go, let's do a cleaning. Let's not just talk about environment. Let's do something. So they they gathered their bags and stuff, and they went to spend half of the day walking around the river and cleaning. And then later on they told me that it was quite challenging, because as they were cleaning, it was a very sunny day, warm day. There were many people walking by, and throwing trash as they were cleaning it, which I can imagine it would really enrage me. And then somehow they sat down in a circle, and they were thinking, those activists, thinking, how can we don't want to create enemies out of them. Anyway, so they self-connect there. They managed to open a very kind of a positive space in them. And from then on, when they continued cleaning the river, and as they would see other people passing by, they would approach them with this smile and with as much innocence honest, authentic innocence as they could put together, meaning that they were something like, hey, how are you? A nice day, isn't it? Huh? We are cleaning the river here because we so much love nature when it's really clean and it's not so much rubbish there, rubbish around. And yeah, I'm wondering if that's also something that you are, valuing, and maybe even you would be willing to help us. That if you have any trash, you can give it to us, you know. And the result was that quite a few people decided to join them. Even there was this kind of a school classroom coming by, and then they all went into, okay, we'll clean this part of the river. Just this sense that I got from hearing this story, it was very inspiring for me, is that deep down we actually do want to collaborate. We do want to connect. We do long for connecting and flowing and enjoyable relationships. Yet one thing is we don't know how to do it because we didn't learn that really. We learned how to disconnect, or we didn't learn a lot how to connect. And number two is that we want to be seen in our free choice, and very often we will have a sense, oh, there is yet another person coming to tell me how I should be and I shouldn't be, so I need to protect myself. So if I can replace the possible enemy in their eyes with a friend who is basically inviting them, not forcing them, but inviting them into a free connection and free collaboration and companionship, that may be a huge game changer. So this is it, Barbara. I hope I was somewhat useful with my sharing, and wishing you well.